Greetings, fellow adventurers. Welcome back to our shared journey where the world of fantasy and reality intertwine. Whether you're here seeking refuge from the daylight or looking for a coven of like-minded souls, you're in the right place. Today, we delve into the mysteries of the Great Vault, accompanied by the ritual of manifestation and a celebration of our triumphs, both inside and outside the realm of Azeroth. Join me as we unlock not just treasures, but also the power of gratitude. I will be unlocking the Great Vault, my Augmentation Evoker, so let's enter the World of Warcraft. We'll first gaze upon our current attire. Each piece a testament to our past endeavors, yet the hunger for improvement lingers. Behold, my current gear. Let's see which pieces are yearning for their destined upgrades. I'm still wearing my 4-piece, the Hero Track helmet with the socket, the Myth Track shoulders, Hero Track chest piece, and Hero Track gauntlets. So any of the pieces that are not on Myth Track, I could still use an upgrade. Next, I will be looking at the other gear that I could possibly use as an upgrade. I do have the Best in Slot necklace from Mythic Plus, which is from Dark Heart Thicket. But there is actually a better one from the raid, and considering that my current one is Hero Track, then the raid one will still be an upgrade because of the extra mastery that it provides. My cloak is pretty best in slot. It's from the raid, so I will probably not be replacing that unless I get something myth level. And then in terms of my bracelets, I'll probably not find anything better than the ones that I have. I've already upgraded them to max. They are myth level. I'm also very happy with my belt, and I did grab a socket last week. I can show a clip of that from the last week if you missed it. But this belt was acquired, I believe, the week before the last week. I was able to upgrade it with a socket because nothing was very inspiring enough for me to grab from the Great Vault last week. So that's why we have the socket in it now. And not only that, it has avoidance, which is perfect for Mythic Plus. So this is almost the best you can get, really, for Augvoker. I'm still wearing the crafted leggings. There's nothing really better for me at the moment. The tier set leggings, I don't have any mastery on them. Not to mention the embellishment that it comes with is pretty decent for keys, which grants you and your 4 closest allies within 30 yards 551 versatility for 10 seconds. So these are going to be staying with me for a little while. The boots that I have are already best in slot, but they are still Hero Track, so there's still a chance that I might be able to upgrade them. Then my first ring is crafted, and I don't think I want to replace this. It has a socket, has haste mastery on it, and it has my embellishment to grant me 624 mastery anytime I'm above 90% health. Now we enter a part of my gear where I could use a little bit of help here from the Great Vault. I'm currently wearing the Dreambound Loop, which is from a Dream Surge, so it's currently stuck at 450 item level and it can no longer be upgraded. But the reason why I'm wearing it is because it provides the best stats out of the rings that I've acquired this season. It's got 709 haste and 750 mastery. Those are the stats that I like to focus on, and I want to stack as much mastery as possible. I did equip this the other day because I was wearing the Band of Twisted Bark, which is the high crit lower mastery, so I only gain about 200 or so mastery by switching these out. But I do like the added haste because I felt like things were just taking too long for me to cast, so I wanted to reach at least 20% haste. With that said, I'm still on the lookout for the Dark Heart Thicket ring, which is called the Arch Druid's Tainted Seal. That drops from Dark Heart Thicket, and it seems to be extremely rare for some reason, even though Wowhead says it has a 8.7% drop chance. I've never seen it drop, so that is something that I would really want right now, especially since it is on myth track. Another thing that could possibly be upgraded is the Balefire branch. I only have one on champion level, so it's not even on hero track. So this is another item that I can't upgrade any higher. And I am currently using Nimwe's Unraveling Spindle. It finally dropped in the raid a few weeks ago. I've been using these two together about 2 days ago. I've been using the Bella trinket with one of these for my dungeons in my raid, but I wanted to see if these two are better, and so far I feel like they are better, but I still need to practice using these two together. And finally, we do have the Dreambinder staff, which is still pretty good. I don't mind it, but it has an on-use effect, and although it is really neat, the damage that it provides can be pretty good. I don't know, 4% or 5% of my total damage in each key. But if I do get lucky, the Vampiric mace will probably be better in my opinion. The staff that I have equipped is taking up an action bar slot, and although I can bind it to another ability very easily, it's something that I have to always be aware of when to use it and stuff. I prefer having something that's a little bit more passive, which is what the Vampiric mace does. It is a passive damage effect. So we reviewed the things that require some upgrades. Now let's embrace the ancient art of manifestation. With our intentions set upon the Great Vault, let's channel our desires, weaving them into the fabric of fate. May the echoes of our will resonate through the corridors of time and space, bringing forth the gear we most covet. O Archdruid's tainted seal, come forth and appear in my great vault. Let's also manifest the Balefire branch trinket. O Balefire branch, please reveal yourself in the great vault and bless us with your mastery and intellect. We also have room for Vampiric's mace. Let's not forget that. O Vac, the shadowed inferno, I welcome the power of corruption within you. Please allow me to wield the shadow flame magic you hold. With our ritual complete, the moment has arrived. Let's unveil the secrets of the Great Vault. Not every manifestation ritual will grant us something we desire, but it is still worth a try. Alright, here we go. Alright, none of these items match the words that I have spoken during the ritual, but that's okay. Let's still see what the vault has for us. Starting with the top left, we have the heroic boots of the Molten Horde with versatility and mastery. And avoidance. So that avoidance is pretty lucky, but I'm not quite convinced that it's worth sacrificing the mastery on my own boots just to get more avoidance. So we're probably going to pass up on these boots. Now we have a cloak, which has high crit and some versatility, but unfortunately because there is no mastery on this cloak, we'll probably be passing on this as well. Alright, so the last item in the raid section of my vault is the tier chest piece, but it's on the same track as my chest piece. They're both on hero track, and that means that I won't really benefit from taking this, so nothing from the raid seems to be a good upgrade. But let's check out the dungeon section. First up, we have the Sereth Spire Staff, which is crit and haste, equal amounts, but I don't think this is worth replacing the one that I have, even though it is on myth track. And if we look on the Wowhead best in slot page for Augvoker, it doesn't even show up on this list. In fact, the best two-hander is from Galakron's Fall in Dawn of the Infinite dungeon. The staff is called Iridal, the Earth's Master, which has a unique on-use effect as well. This is probably worth checking out if it's on myth track, especially the one that appeared in my vault. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to say goodbye to the staff. All right, and so we do have a ring in the vault, although it is not the Wit's ring, sadly, but it is the one from Waycrest Manor, which has an interesting interaction with a trinket that drops in this dungeon as well, Lady Waycrest's music box. So once you combine the two items, you have a set bonus, which enhances the effects of each of the items. These are not recommended in the best in slot items. I feel like it's still worth a try to experiment with them if you ever have the pieces. So there's always that chance if you have literally nothing else to play with, especially if you have only received the items from the dungeons and you have nothing better from other sources. In fact, if you go on the Wowhead article, the Lady Waycrest music box is considered B tier, so it's not the worst option. There are far worse trinkets that you can be wearing. It is pretty mid, or actually it's kind of above mid, I suppose, as the article says. The passive intellect from the trinket and the damage that you get passively as well seems like a good value. And considering that the trinket also gives you a chance to have a passive heal in the party, because augmentation still provides healing. It restores health to a nearby injured ally anytime you use a healing spell, so that's pretty neat. And lastly, we have a back piece, and it's the Shadow Feather Shawl with high haste and some versatility, but again, this isn't something that I would want to pick up. It'll sacrifice a lot of my mastery. It doesn't seem like anything really in this vault is worth picking up. You can still ask Mr. Robot what he thinks. So I'm gonna take this script and import it into the Ask Mr. Robot website, which is the tool I use anytime I'm curious what my Augmentation Evoker needs for upgrades. So I'll scroll down to the upgrade finder and have the Great Vault selected, have all of these checkboxes selected as well, and make sure that the upgrade level is set to 489 aspects crest. We find upgrades, and I suspected there's really not that much of a difference here. There's really not that much of an upgrade. In fact, the boots of Molten Horde are said to be picked up if you want to pick up and to turn it into the catalyzed boots, because that way you'll switch out the versatility for some critical strike. You'll still hang on to almost the same amount of mastery. Actually, you'll gain like 20 mastery. It seems like Mr. Robot agrees with me that it doesn't seem like anything is really worth picking up in the vault, so that's a little unfortunate. Here's to see how far down the Lord Waker's signet is. It is actually worse than what I have on, so it's definitely not worth picking up, though it is a shame because it is on myth track, so there goes another high item level piece that I won't be able to have again. So this is 2 weeks in a row where I don't actually gain any item level from my Great Vault. None of these pieces are really worth picking up. So what is there to do when you're in this situation, right? I'm gonna look back at my gear and see what pieces are socketed and what pieces are not. So we'll see what the next piece I'm going to socket. My helmet is socketed, my belt is socketed, my bracers aren't socketed, and my ring isn't socketed, but I wanted to save the socket for a myth level ring or a heroic ring that have the desired stats on them. So I guess I'm going to socket my bracers. Yeah, so I'll just be picking up my socket 2 weeks in a row. Socket in the vault. Alrighty, so we got that socket token, which is okay. I'll pick it up right now. Nature's Cradle, that's the item we need. So it's unfortunate we didn't get any actual pieces, but we did get a little token to improve one of our pieces. And now the key that I have in the vault, although we didn't get any gear upgrades, your vault still comes with a keystone. So depending on what keystone you get, it can also make a difference in how you feel about your vault. So remember that next time you pick up something lousy in the vault, look at the key that it gives you, because it can make a difference. There are some keys that are a little bit tougher than the others, namely Rise. So I'm glad I didn't have that key in the vault. I have a Tall Desarve, which is awesome. This week is Tyrannical Volcanic Sanguine. It is a pretty simple dungeon, aside from the last boss. Considering it's tyrannical, it might be a little spicy, but we'll see if we can get that done this week. It is probably going to be done with pugs. I tend to run with a lot of pugs still, so we're probably going to be having some messy runs. Alright, so time for the next segment for this video series. In our journey, victories are not just confined to the digital realm. Let us now share our triumphs. As you have seen already, my vault today was full of items, which is a contrast to last week's vault. I only had 1 item from Mythic Plus. This week I have 3 items from Mythic Plus. And despite that none of those items today were an upgrade, I still consider it a win because I was able to get some keys done. And not only that, last week I actually completed most of my dungeons at the beginning of the week rather than at the end. I do have a video up expressing my frustration with doing keys last minute, which is usually waiting until Monday to do all my keys. Sometimes you get lucky and you'll do some keys in the morning earlier on Monday, but if you need like all of them, it can get a little bit eventful because I feel like the players who are determined to get a lot of stuff done in the game, they try to get that out of the way as early in the week as possible so they don't have to stress at the end of the week. And although that's something that I want to do, I do believe that's a good idea. Unfortunately, because of my illness, I sometimes struggle trying to fit in a lot during the beginning of the week. After I raid, it drains a lot of my energy, so me trying to do keys on top of making content and on top of living my life, I do get drained pretty early in the week, so there are times when I end up having to do keys at the very, very end and literally the last minute, which is what happened to me in the past, and I really don't like that. But I was able to fit in some keys earlier, and that way I didn't have to do all my 8 keys, or rather 20, 30 keys on Monday, the very last few hours of Monday, because people leave and they're unaware about how lenient some of the timers are. You know, leaving an Atal Desar because you lost a minute isn't gonna kill the key. Just so you know that. I do have a video about that. I did get a comment on it where I didn't agree with, so I told them that, you know, it really depends on the dungeon. So if you lose a minute in an Atal Desar, even in a 21 or that's not gonna kill the key. You can still time it. You'll see people wipe in that dungeon and they'll still time it. You gotta know your battles and if it's worth giving up on them or not. I feel like most of the pug community isn't familiar with what keys allow you to make some mistakes. And you know what? Don't come at me saying, oh, you shouldn't be making mistakes in the higher keys. This isn't like the highest keys ever. This isn't a 29 or a 30. You can still make mistakes in a 23. In time, depending on the dungeon. Not all of us play like robots. You know, we're not always coordinated, especially as pug players. We don't always have the advantage of synchronizing with our teammates. There's not much communication going on, you know. Mistakes are expected and we'll mess up. For instance, I personally make a lot of mistakes in keys, and a lot of them are due to the fact that I have illness problems get in the way in my gameplay. My hands start to spaz because of my joints, and I start having trembling hands. And of course, when you're trying to do all your keybinds, you're not going to be able to touch all your keys, you know, in the order that you want. And when I pug, there's always a chance that I am distracted with whatever's happening, because sometimes a key will turn extremely chaotic and I might get distracted by whatever's happening, and then that totally throws me off and I screw up my rotation and it screws up my uptime and yada yada. I already know that I'm not performing at my best. I study logs, I look at other people playing, I can do all that every day, but it's still not going to change the fact that in the moment of the dungeon, while it's happening, there are things that can still get in the way. All of my knowledge goes out the window. So TLDR, I don't think you should be flaming people, even if you're seeing them make mistakes in 23s and 24s. You can be elitist and disagree with me if that makes you feel better about yourself, but someone who is chronically ill, it means nothing to me. It doesn't change the fact that I know why I struggle. So until you have limitations in your performance due to health conditions like I do, I don't think you'll really understand my point of view. So I don't think it's really worth arguing with me about this kind of thing. It's another rant that I tend to get into. Too many people don't understand life as a chronically ill or disabled gamer. That's my rant. It is part of the in-game wins. And as for the waking world, I have a few other wins in my real life that I'd like to share. Despite challenges, I found moments of joy and accomplishment, so I'd like to share that with you guys. So as I mentioned earlier, I did say that I was able to get all my 8 keys done for the vault. Oh, forgot to mention, because I did get all my 8 keys done for the vault, I did several that weren't for IO, just so I have something for the vault, but I did do 2 keys which allowed me to break 3k IO on this character. I know 3k IO doesn't mean a lot, especially for those of you who play a lot more than I do. You play better because we don't share the same kinds of challenges, or because you have a consistent, competent group of other players that you run with. So 3k isn't much, but considering that I am in my position and I still pug and I'm on a character that I have little experience on, I feel like that's a win. I feel like that's okay. We do have the season ending in a few weeks, so I don't think I'll be able to get to any that much higher, unfortunately, but I feel like it's not worth pushing myself, especially since I have a lot going on in my real life. I feel like I'm happy with 3k. Alright, so my real life wins. Last week I wasn't able to do that much in the game, although I did do more than the week before because my dad was going through some things and I needed to help him out, and I was very worried about him, so I was too distracted with the real world and I didn't feel like doing keys, but at least I was able to get some stuff done in the game. The real world win that I think is worth mentioning is the fact that I spent my New Year's with my dad and my brother, so we did a little bit of some family time, so it was nice spending the last moments of the year, some family. So at least there's that. Again, I'd rather do something like that than be a sweaty gamer. I think that's a win because I was fortunate enough to be spending that time with my family, so that's definitely a triumph. Also, if you are not already aware, you might not have noticed yet, maybe you have, but I have some news to share in the real world, or rather, because it is outside of World of Warcraft, it is still part of the real world, although it is still considered digital. But on December 30th, I finally reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And since then, I've gained quite a few more, so I'm a little bit over 1,000 subscribers on this channel, which means that the content that I'll be posting is monetized with ads. And I apologize, people hate ads, but as someone with chronic illness, I struggle with a lot of basic things, or at least a lot of things that are basic to other people. So any effort, any energy that I spend on my YouTube, it is a lot of energy because of the fact that I don't have that much energy to begin with. So seeing that my channel is now monetized and able to pick up some revenue from it is pretty inspiring. It's motivating me to keep going and working even harder on providing more valuable content, not just superficial gameplay, but I do have other plans in store for this channel. I spent a few days last week planning out content for the future. I have so many new series that I want to launch on this channel, and I also have plans for other channels as well because I have a lot of other passions and interests, so that's another thing that I'm looking forward to. Maybe I'll be able to monetize those channels as well, seeing that I have some practice on this one. So as a heads up, I will be posting a lot of other content on this channel, and seeing as I talk about being a chronically ill gamer, I will have separate series dedicated to that topic. So if you're interested in knowing more about navigating gaming as someone who is chronically ill, I will have some content ready for you in the future. I'm currently planning out specific topics in that realm, so please stay tuned for that if you are interested. And of course, if you're new here and you need a reason to subscribe, that might be something that you might be interested as well. So those are my real world wins. Now let us turn to the whispers from our coven of like-minded souls. Your comments from last week. Time to share and celebrate your wins to lift each other in our shared journey through both realms. So this is a new segment of this video series. Every week I invite my viewers to share about their in-game and in real life triumphs, if they're brave enough to share. And I'm grateful for people who have participated so far. So I would like to add a new segment in my future videos in this series, and that is to share some comments from my previous Great Vault videos, particularly those sharing things that they're happy about or anything to do with their Great Vault. Let's just celebrate some people's wins and experiences. So last week, from December 26th, I have a video and I have a few comments, and I'll be reading someone's comment. Last week's vault wasn't the best. I did end up picking up a socket, so it's a bit comforting to know that other people kind of shared the same experience as me. For instance, John wrote, "Yeah, my vaults were kind of mad this week. I think I only got one upgrade for the week, but I also only ran one. Not enough time with the holidays." And that's pretty much like the same situation I was in. For my main character, I only ran one Mythic Plus dungeon, so I only got one dungeon loot option. So even though that both John and I didn't get anything that we really wanted in the vault, that's okay, because I feel like we still had other things to be focused on anyway, you know, with the holidays going on. And then from my other vault video on December 19th, I have several comments here. We have Starmy congratulating me on my AOTC with the group that I was running with. And Starmy says, "This week for Vault, I got an upgrade on my hands, champion to Mythic, so that is awesome. Congratulations. I will probably change it to tier next week." And on my Pally, I got an upgrade on my wrist. I'm slowly gearing her. I am mostly focusing on my druid. So that's awesome, Starmy. I did reply to her, but it's good to hear that you had some upgrades. And then again, John commented, "I did okay on my tunes this week, got nice upgrades this week, and only did a minimum of one run." Got lucky. Yeah, John, that's actually quite the fortune you had on your characters that week. Doing one run and you still get an upgrade, that's pretty cool. But then again, was a few weeks ago, so I feel like the earlier in the season we do tend to have luck, and that's because we're probably not the most gears. So as the weeks pass, we accumulate more gears, so it's a little harder to get the one piece that you really need at the end of the season. And finally, from my December 5th vault video, we had someone share about their real world. It always makes me happy when people share about their gratitude for their real world in the waking world. So it always feels nice to read some good news in people's lives. We have Nadim comment, "My win for last week was spending more time with my wife, especially since I work the vampire shift." So yeah, it's like things like this that I want to invite people to share about. I feel like it's not that common that players really think about their real life wins and rewards when they log on the game expecting something in their vault. So this is a ritual that I have on my channel for this series. I get a sense of purpose when people share about things that inspire them to be a little bit more grateful each week. So anytime that people share about stuff like that, it resonates with the strength of our community. So well done, people who are brave enough to comment on my channel. In this coven, every step forward is a testament to our collective resilience. Your stories, steeped in courage and perseverance, inspire us all. Keep sharing your journeys, and let's continue to uplift each other. As our gathering nears its end, I extend an invitation to share your tales of triumph, both in the world of Azeroth and beyond, in the comments below. Let us celebrate our collective journey. Until our paths cross again, remember, in the game of life and beyond, we are the masters of our destiny, and may the shadows guide you on your own victories.